Today we are going to be talking about who to surround yourself with, and while we're on the subject, who to stay away from. Okay, so who to surround yourself with, also who to stay away from. All right, first things first, you guys can win things. I'm just reminding you here daily. All that you have to do is you subscribe to the YouTube channel, comment on the YouTube videos, share my YouTube videos into social media, tagging myself or my business page in it. The only reason for that is so I can see that you did it. One person every single week is going to win something. That is how we roll. All right, let me get rid of that. And now let's just go ahead and go into it. So again, who to surround yourself with, and then who to stay away from, okay? Also, just real quick, thank you for everybody that is messaging me today and just really supporting me, and kind of like I feel rallied around, and I appreciate it. Today is the anniversary of my dad's death. It is 9 years ago today, and I'm overwhelmed with the amount of thoughtful things that are coming from you guys. I just appreciate it so much, and I want to let you know that. I was able to dedicate my talk at the Great American Summit this last weekend to him, and I'm very proud to have been able to do that. But yeah, now let's go ahead and get going. But again, thank you so much. I didn't want to continue without saying thank you. Okay, who to surround yourself with and who to stay away from. So this is for people that have, you know, if you've already quit your job, that's cool. If you're still in your job and you're wanting to quit, that's cool. It doesn't matter what phase of life you're in or what phase of business you're in. None of that matters. This is like a life skill, okay? So this doesn't really even have to do with business, if we're honest, but it's going to make your business easier. Who to surround yourself with. Some of you guys know the story of Mike and I, right? So at the very beginning of our relationship, I was a raging alcoholic. Okay, I was really, really bad. I drank all the time. Even whenever I came home, I would have one of those big cups, and it looked like water in it, but I had like a handle of vodka in the laundry room that I had hidden away, and I would put it in there, and I drank a lot. I drank a lot, guys, a lot. And I was numbing things in my life. And we're not going to go into all that. That isn't the subject of today. But I was in such a bad way. I had been divorced. The marriage ended very badly, violently. And then I lived in somebody's basement. God bless them for letting me live in their basement, or else I would have been homeless, right? That was where I was at 28 or 29. It was somewhere in there. And that's where I was. And I just remember, like, this is my whole couch thing. I remember sitting on the couch. Like, whenever I say take it back to the couch, I mean like my proverbial couch. When I say that, like, I always imagine my couch, because that was, for me, that was a turning point. And I was sitting on the couch, just a mess around me. Had my dog, my shelter dog, with me. Her name's Cuddles, and she was an American Eskimo. We lost her a couple years ago. And so it was an awful situation. And I remember just staring at the wall and thinking, like, what on earth has happened to me? Like, what? Where did I go wrong? And typically in our lives, you guys, I just want to make this clear. It's not usually one thing that you go wrong in. It's usually tiny things that you go wrong in, right? It's like a tiny bad decision, and then another tiny bad decision. And none of them feel monumental, but all along the way, you're like, here was your road for your life, right? Here's the road for like you living in your purpose, for you living a life of, a life that matters, you know? there's this. And then what we start doing is we make these little decisions, and these little decisions pile up. And not only do they pile up, they start veering you off course. And it's ever so slightly, and nothing ever feels that bad. Nothing ever feels like, I decided to rob a bank today. You know, like it's never something that's so bad that you're like, oh, that was a real bad choice. Now, for the people that have robbed banks, yeah, that's a pretty monumental bad choice, right? But how many people are actually those people? Most of us are the people that we make one bad decision. It's just so slight, right? And then another slight. Maybe my first bad decision was to take that first drink in the first place. I knew my family history. I knew my dad had an alcohol problem as well. And he had quit, I think, before I was even born. But I knew that, and I still did it. That was a bad decision, but it was a slight bad decision. It was a drink. It was one. But that slight bad decision led into other slight bad decisions. I would say that, I mean, I'm just going to say it. I think a bad decision was me getting married the first time. I think that was a bad decision. I think looking back on it now, I'm like, gosh, that was, I could have chosen better, right? Not that he's a bad person. We just were not. So it's these slight things that get us veering off course, okay? So I just want to bring your awareness to that to make you realize it's not just the people that decide, wake up in the morning and decide to rob a bank. Yeah, those, I mean, that's monumental, right? But it's every day. And if we're present every day in our decision making, if we're present every day, and does this filter, like if we use the filter that we're looking at our life through and the things that are coming at us, and we're having to, do you say yes or do you say no? And those things that are coming at us, if we run them all through the filter of, does this serve my purpose in life? Does this serve the station in life that I choose? Does this serve me being the best version of myself possible? If we were to run everything through that filter, you guys, life would be a lot easier. I didn't run everything through that filter because I was unawares. I did not even know such a filter existed. I was just kind of like floating through life. And so I was making these bad decisions after bad decisions anyway. I ended up on the couch in a basement, darn near homeless. Couldn't feed myself. Fed my dog Hardee's cheeseburgers, put them in her bowl like I was churching it up or something. And that was my life. That was my existence. I got fired from my job. I was a bartender. I got fired for being a bartender, or fired as a bartender because I was an alcoholic. An alcoholic being a bartender, by the way, like if this is you, don't do it. That's a really bad idea. But I was sitting there just, on paper, nothing. On paper, no skills. On paper, just a mess. On paper, a girl who's just lost everything. On paper. And then here's what happened. I had already known Mike for a little while, but we started hanging out together. And he started doing something that I call speaking life. He started speaking life over me and into my life. And so what that means is he saw in me what you see today, but he saw it back then when I was a mess, guys. He saw it back then and he spoke it over me. So he would tell me how brilliant I was. He would tell me how good I was at X, Y, and Z. He would tell me, he would call out my greatness to me. Now, in the very first times that he would do that, I would be like, okay, bro, like what? What are we, I don't know why you're saying these things that you're saying, but like, that ain't me. You got the wrong girl. And that's where I was in life, right? I was just like, that's not even true. I don't know why you're saying this to me. But he persisted. He kept going. He kept reminding me over and over and over again of who I am, of who I really am. And eventually I started to see it. I started to understand. I started to see what he was seeing. And then I started growing into it. So a lot of you guys have heard this story that I talk about, but there was a teacher that had a class of students, and her class of students were doing really poorly in tests, and the principal came to her and said, we got to do something here because the entire class is doing really badly, so we need to do something here. She did one thing, okay? She did one thing different between this test and the next test that were like standardized tests. One thing. What she did, you guys, is as her students came to class every day, she would welcome them in and she would speak life over them. She would let them know how brilliant they were. She would let them know how capable they were. She would let them know what amazing people they were. How she was so proud of them and how they were so smart and how they could do anything that they wanted to do. They were just that good. And so they would come to class and they would hear this. Their little minds would hear this. And then here's what happened next, you guys. The next standardized test that they took, the scores all went not because of different teaching, not because of different curriculum, not because of, telling them they need to be better, but by calling out the truth in them. And then they believed it. And then they lived up to it. You guys, here's the thing that we do. As people, we live up to people's expectations of us. We also lower ourselves to people's expectations of us. Do you see what I'm saying there? So the answer here in what I'm saying in all of this is you need to surround yourself with people that see the best in you, and you in return see the best in them. In my tight circle, it's leapfrogging. It's I see the best in you, you see the best in me. We call it out in each other like it's a rah-rah. Like it's not toxic positivity, which is what counterculture wants to say. Oh, don't be toxically positive. Listen, I'm going to call out the gold in you because what I know to be true is that you will live up to the gold that I call out in you, and that is not toxic, and I refuse to have people tell me that that is toxic. It's how we make people better. In a world that doesn't want people to be better, in a world that wants people to be quiet, in a world that wants people to just shut up and sit down, I choose to call out gold in people. I choose to make them better. I choose to help them be the very best version of themselves possible. And so I suggest that we all do that. And most importantly, that you pay attention to who you're spending time around so you have that done for you. And so you can do that for them. We are in a crossroads right now. We have to call out the gold in each other. We don't know what's down the road, guys. We have to call out the gold in each other. We have to make each other better. It is our responsibility to do so. Now, who do we stay away from? I think it's probably obvious. Stay away from the people that speak death. You can speak life, you can speak death too, right? Speaking death looks a lot like, no, you can't do that. Who do you think you are? She's not going to make it. This isn't going to last. Da-da-da-da-da. Death comes from very close friends and sometimes family. And then also strangers. The hardest thing to go through is those people closest to you speaking death over you. It's the hardest thing to go through. It's very hard to be successful when you have people that you love so much telling you that you can't do it or they don't believe that you can do it. Now, I'm not saying that you should hate those people. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they need to be at an arm's length. I'm saying they don't need to have a whole lot of bandwidth, if any. They don't get any real estate in your mind. They don't get to live there. There's a fun thing that happens whenever you get successful. I'm on the other side of it, so I can tell you what's going to happen. The fun thing that happens whenever you get successful is those people start coming around. They start saying, oh, yeah, I always knew you were going to be. Okay, all right. But still, when they're in the place where they don't get it and they're telling you you can't do it, they're working from their own limitations, right? I mean, what we know about this is they're working from, they don't think you can do it because they don't believe it can be done because they can't do it. That's human nature, okay? And they're spewing it all over you. They have no idea what they're doing. They probably think that they're keeping you safe. So God bless them. I don't think that they're trying to be malicious even. But the truth of the matter is that you need to keep them away from you. And you need to only allow the people around you that are honest, that are trustworthy, and that speak life. Everybody else can be an arm's length away. Don't let them have access to you guys. Don't. Any 5 minutes in a day that someone that's speaking death over you has access to you has the potential of ruining not just your day, but your week. And how many productive, efficient hours did you just destroy from that? Keep them away, guys. Okay? I'm also just going to say this super duper quick, and I'm almost running out of time. If you guys are not in HBR is called Home-Based Revolution. It's going through a name change right now too. It is the thing that I have created. It's the blueprint that I created to show you, to walk you through hand in hand how to do what I've done. So we've grown multiple income streams from home, utilizing stuff that we already knew and loved, right? 5 to 10 hours a week is as long as it takes. And we've done very well for ourselves. And this is our focus, is that every family will be able to do this very same thing, because the truth be told, you're going to have to. Look at the writing on the wall. You're going to have to figure something out for yourself. And right now it's about 85% of what it's going to be in the next couple of weeks. So you get like 85% off. So the way that you jump in is you go to Livin the Dream with Martha. It's my Facebook business page. Message me the words, let's do this, rainbows and unicorns, whatever you want. I'll give you the details of the program. The rest is history. I love you guys.